Hello my friends and welcome back to another Brotato Danger 5 random run, where we take a random character, random weapon, and try to beat Danger 5 with it. Hope you're all doing well. That's right, I decided to do a classic random challenge, but with the new stuff from the New Dawn update, because that's what I felt like doing today. So let's go ahead and see what character we're getting. Okay, well, the baby, always an exciting character for a random weapon challenge. There are some very brutal weapons that we could roll here, so let's see what we've got. And we've got spoons. This makes perfect sense to me. A spoon for a baby. Ideally, you would probably use a plastic spoon, but, you know, this baby is too powerful. But much more reasonable than giving the baby a knife or a screwdriver, I think. Obviously, in the opening shop, we were hoping to hit level 1 in order to be able to buy a weapon upgrade. Unfortunately, we missed on that, but I will be able to still buy a spoon here and level at least to level 2. The problem with this weapon for this character is that the baby really struggles to get max HP because we level slower and we can't get the HP upgrades from our levels. It's going to be harder to boost our max HP in order to scale the damage of this weapon. I'm going to ban Dynamite. That will hopefully help us find better items more quickly. And do I want to buy the Insanity? We do obviously get the guaranteed crits on burning targets with the spoon, but it also just has a really good crit multiplier, so you can just buy crit chance on this weapon, especially on a character that isn't guaranteed to be able to set enemies on fire. So I think I will buy the Insanity here, and then I'll reroll. We'll lock a spoon so that we have a weapon for when we are able to, when we level up and open up another weapon slot. And I'll buy a penguin. Alien Tongue, I think, isn't worth locking, so I should probably just ban it. But I think I might wait on banning that, and then we can lock these two items and go to the next wave. Have to play this one with one weapon here, of course. So the way that the baby works is you start with one weapon slot and you get one every level instead of the normal stats. That means that you're really behind in terms of defensive stats and are going to need to pick those up, because usually those come from your levels, but instead we're just unlocking the ability to use more weapons. But we have a maximum number of 24 weapons, so once we get a lot of weapons, we will hopefully have better damage output. I'm going to go ahead and buy these items and then reroll. Okay, we'll lock this spoon. We can just buy that as soon as that is available, and then we'll lock these two as well. Now we've got a great set of items locked. I haven't managed to use a lot of bans yet, which you do hope to use those very aggressively early, but that also just means that we've been rolling good items, so things are going fine. Definitely going to need some more weapons quickly, though, or we're going to be completely unable to keep ourselves alive, given our low HP, and kill enemies. The blunt weapon tag from the spoon does help, but it will also hinder us because it's going to slow our movement speed, so we're going to need to fix that as soon as we can. I'll take an additional weapon slot, of course, and then we will buy a coupon, buy a spoon, and a baby gecko, and then reroll. I think I'm just going to focus on buying max HP rather than melee damage, so I'm just going to ban both of these items. I don't want to decrease my crit chance either. And unfortunately, duct tape costs you max HP on this character, which is pretty bad. I'll buy a weapon here, and then I could ban any of these. I could re-roll here as well. I'm going to lock the tentacle. We are already doing a critical hit build because we're using a weapon with a really good crit multiplier. I think what I'm going to do here is actually just re-roll and leave these chop slots open for another spoon. You really want to re-roll until you have more weapons locked. I think I actually messed up on that shop quite badly, and what I should have done is buy some of those weapons and leave the spoon locked rather than buy the weapon right away. Buying the weapon right away and upgrading to a third level 2 spoon instead of just keeping it to fill out our next weapon slot forced me to reroll and spend a lot of money rerolling looking for more weapons to lock. So that, I think, was not a well-played shopping trip by me. We also haven't found any harvesting or XP gain, both of which you really want for this character. Okay, well, Scared Sausage, obviously an incredible find when you're playing with spoons. We don't care about the actual elemental damage, we just care about the guaranteed critical hit, so we'll still buy Lost Duck, we'll take Tentacle, we'll reroll here. I'll lock the Beanie. I don't need Decomposing Flesh, that'll cost me HP, and then I'm gonna roll again, looking for more spoons. Finally found some. Snail, I have to ban here. We're gonna reduce our movement speed already with the blunt weapon tag, so I just want to get this out of here so we can find items that we want more. But the Scared Sausage will help a lot. That's gonna increase our damage output significantly and make this weapon actually good. So actually, I think that Spoon got a huge buff in the last patch. I'm not 100% sure if this is how it works, but enemies now count as burning as soon as you hit them. And yeah, so we just got 3 crits there. Enemies now count as burning as soon as you hit them to trigger things like Will-O-Wisp. And I think that that seems to be setting off the Spoon's automatic critical hit on the first attack. We don't have to set an enemy on fire and then subsequently attack them. The attack that actually lights them on fire is also getting an automatic critical hit. Everyone should keep an eye out and see whether that's actually true, but if that's true, that is a big buff to this item, and that will be very powerful on an already pretty strong weapon. I'm gonna ban the boiling water. Again, I'm not gonna buy elemental damage. The burning is just to trigger our spoons. Spyglass is worth buying on the baby because our items are cheaper, so it costs less, and rerolls are a correspondingly higher fraction of our expenses when we're spending less on items. So having cheaper rerolls is really good. So Spyglass is actually good for this character. Also, this is a very low-range weapon, so increasing its range matters a lot. And I ban the Cog, that's just not an item that we care about, and lock the Spoon. And I'll lock Terrified Onion. Normally, that's an item that's a pretty strong candidate for banning, because losing luck is bad, but on this character, we need the movement speed, so we're gonna buy Terrified Onion. So yeah, it does look like having a Scared Sausage with Spoon is basically just giving me an extra 25% chance to critically hit, which is incredible. So that's some really nice synergy that has just been unlocked by that change to the base mechanics of the game. Where enemies now count as burning as soon as you attack them, rather than having to wait until after the attack finishes to count as burning. I actually like that change. I think that's how it should work. It feels right for this item combination. Alright, fixing our movement speed a bit. Do I want the Ugly Tooth? I think not, and I'll just go ahead and ban it because that'll get me a free reroll here. And then I will, I think, upgrade a Spoon here. I do want to get these mostly at least to level 2. This is a weapon that levels really well because the crit multiplier increases, so I'm pretty happy doing that. This one, though, I'm going to lock to make sure that we have one in the shop. I'm also going to take the turret. Now that I have a Scared Sausage, anything that does random damage around the map is really good for us. I'll buy the Weird Food and Power Generator here. Baby Elephant we don't need. Our weapon attacks should be plenty. Power Generator obviously is negative currently, but we do want to fix our move speed. We're going to work on that as quickly as we can. And it's a very powerful item, so I think it is worth buying, even though currently it makes our character worse. Okay, so there, that enemy was burning, and it looked like I didn't get an automatic critical. They may have stopped burning right before the weapon attack went off. But I thought that it looked like I set an enemy on fire with the turret, went to hit them with the Spoon, and it didn't crit them. Hard to keep track of this stuff, of course, as we are playing. The automatic crits are really nice for killing stuff like loot aliens, of course. They just give you really high single target damage. So that's perfect. Very happy to find a metal plate here. Increasing our armor is one of the biggest challenges that we currently have. So we're thrilled to be able to do that. I'll buy these items and then roll, and upgrade... No, I'm going to lock this spoon and buy a Cyclops worm because it's the perfect amount. It fixes our percent damage, which is now really low. Obviously, I've reduced that by buying the power generator, so I need to find some move speed to offset that. So currently what we're missing is regeneration. We have okay armor, actually, for the baby. We're sitting at, I think, 5, which is pretty high for this character, which really struggles to get good armor. But we haven't found any good regeneration items, so we're going to need to find those pretty quickly. And of course, we need to keep leveling our weapons. We also have not found the normal economy items that you find for this character. The baby is tagged to find XP gain items more frequently. Okay, well, we finally found a scar, so that's great. I was just about to complain that we hadn't found one. We'll take the defective steroids, that's great. Increasing our HP and our damage, of course, is excellent. And then let's roll here. Another scar is perfect. That's exactly the type of thing that we're looking for. I'll take a fish hook. I will lock compass and alien tongue. These are both items that we'll be happy to buy if they get cursed. And a cursed spoon would also be a really nice find as well, so we'll lock that. The compass is going to fix our move speed and boost our percent damage because we have the power generator. Especially if it gets cursed, that'll be really nice. Also, one thing I would really like the devs to look at, more suggestions since the game is now being actively developed again, is things like what just happened there with the Hatcher, where we killed a really high health enemy that normally drops a lot of materials and got nothing. The reason that that happens is that over the course of the 20 waves, enemies become less likely to drop materials because they want to put more enemies on the field but not overwhelm the economy, so they need some way to decrease enemy material drops. And how that's implemented right now is that enemies just get a decreasing percent chance to drop their normal material drops. That's fine for normal enemies, but for enemies like that Hatcher that drop multiple materials normally, it feels pretty bad because you kill a really high health enemy and get nothing some of the time, and that just doesn't feel great as the player. Alright, it's the worst of the 3 to get cursed, but I'm still pretty happy with a cursed item at all, so we'll take that. It is true that we lose 3 crit chance, but now that I have the Scared Sausage, crit chance is much less important to this character. Take the Scar, we'll take the Shady Potion, getting positive luck is really good, and then I will roll here. Landmines is another way I can set things on fire across the map, which isn't terrible, but I think I'm not going to buy it. I will buy the percent damage, though, from the Ritual, and Lifesteal, when we have this many weapons, Lifesteal is still fine, so I'll buy Spoon, or I'll buy the Whetstone, and the Lifesteal from the Ritual will also be helpful. I could lock Baby Elephant. I guess I'll lock it because we have a fish hook, and you just want to lock items when you have a fish hook. Basically, every item that you lock is like buying 1/5 of an item, because when you get a cursed item, it's essentially worth 2 items. So even if that item is not one that you're, that excited by, spending 1 shop slot on 1/5 of a baby elephant and potentially getting some curse, which is also a very valuable stat, is very much worth it. So my max HP is terrible right now, and my regeneration is really bad, so when I took those hits, it put me in a lot of danger. That cost me, unfortunately, a lot of money this wave, because I wasn't able to kill much stuff in the mid-game, in the middle of the wave here. And we've only barely crested 20 harvesting, so we're just not in great shape in terms of our economy or defensive stats currently. Getting the regen there will help. I will lose 1 consumable healing as well for the alien worm. Both our max HP and our regen are really bad. Again, the sort order being annoying there. I will take the spoon and then reroll. And we'll lock this spoon. Getting a cursed one would be really nice. This lets me get a metal detector, and I will roll again. I don't currently have any dodge, but I guess a cursed adrenaline would be really good, so I will lock it in case the fishhook can proc. Of course, we do want saltwater. That's all stats that we care about. One of the reasons that this is a somewhat weak character overall, or is a quite weak character overall, is that you basically have to buy XP gain items, but you don't get stats from them. You just get more weapon slots, and so you kind of have to buy them in order to be able to play the character, because without the extra weapon slots, it's just not doing anything. But then you've spent a bunch of money on an item that doesn't, that has no combat stats for you, doesn't increase your ability to actually kill stuff. Or survive, whereas for a normal character, Scar is a very efficient stat item because it gives you those levels. Here I'm going to recycle that, we'll take the treasure map, we'll take a weapon slot, and we're going into the elite wave here. Let's buy... I guess I will still buy the adrenaline and then roll. I'll take a cute monkey, that's a good healing item, we'll lock a baby gecko, and then I will re-roll again, lock another spoon, and go to the elite wave. 32 HP and pretty poor regeneration are going to make this a pretty tough wave. Maybe I can actually just kill the elite, though. That might be, yeah, that's probably the safer way to play this. Let's try to kill it. Of course, that cost me a lot of damage because I walked into a bunch of its attacks. Run over here and kill that gobbler. And... no, I think I should try not, or I shouldn't try to kill the elite. It's just putting too much pressure on my movement to try to stay near it. So I could probably have killed it. We do have the damage, but we just don't have the defensive stats to do that safely. And you can see there when I take infinite hits from everything. This character is not great at recovering our health currently, or surviving hits because we only have 30 health. So I had to play a little more safely. This is still just a pretty difficult character, the baby, so I need to not get too greedy. We will take the cursed spoon, we'll take baby gecko, we'll do a reroll here. I'll lock another spoon. Wheelbarrow, at this point, I think I will pass on, and I'll reroll. I'm gonna reroll again. I really need more max HP. Let's buy this spoon, lock the giant's belt, and lock the wisdom. Either of those cursed would be incredible, so fishhook will hopefully go off here. Yeah, and the fact that this weapon scales off of our max HP, but we're playing the baby, so our max HP is garbage, is not helping. All that said, I will say that this was not a super well-played run by me. I'm taking more hits than I need to, just in terms of my movement, and that's costing me money, because it means that I have to play more safely in the wave to avoid dying. And my shopping hasn't been great overall, I think, so we've just been a little bit weaker than we needed to be, and that's part of what is making this a more awkward run. All of the little mistakes that you make turn into big problems in a game like this, because the whole game is about taking your incremental advantages and building on them. I'll take the fishhook here. We also see that we got the 15% pity bonus, so none of the items we were hoping to get cursed got cursed. Let's buy the spoon and the coffee here. Do I want to try to float either of these items? Probably not. I guess I'll take the giant's belt and we'll float the wisdom, because wisdom matters more to get cursed. Take the coupon, and I'm going to roll past the baby elephant here and roll again. I'll lock a focus. This is another really good item for us. And do I just level a spoon? Yeah, probably. If we level that, it's going to level a cursed spoon, which is pretty good to be able to do. So I think I guess I didn't have a level 1 cursed spoon. So it just leveled one of my level 1s to a level 2, but that's still good because it increases our crit multiplier. So the big thing that I needed to change here was just I needed to roll more aggressively for max HP before I fought that elite. Then we'd both have been able to survive more easily and do more damage to it. And the reason for that is that we're playing a weapon that scales off of our max health, so I was sort of shopping as though that wasn't the case. But because Spoon scales off of max health, I needed to pay more attention and put a higher priority on getting that early. The lifesteal that I bought has worked out very well, though. We've been very happy to have that. Warrior Helmet, probably one of the best possible things we could find. Night Goggles, also pretty good here. Losing 3 max HP in an armor is bad, but the range and crit chance are both very relevant. We'll take the Vigilante Ring. Yeah, so we also did finally get some good items, which does help a lot. I can buy both of these cursed items. That's great, and I'll lock an Alien Tongue, because if that gets cursed, that would be excellent as well. So this is a horde wave. I do need to be pretty careful this wave because our armor is still bad and our damage output isn't amazing. And my max HP is still only 37. The Spoon buff does kind of go crazy, though. The fact that you crit on the first attack when you're setting an enemy on fire is nuts. So you don't actually ever need, if you find enough scared sausages, you don't need any crit chance on this weapon. You just need 4 scared sausages and you'll crit on every attack, which is pretty nuts. There was a loot alien in there, and we have enough consumable healing that I can run into the middle of enemies like that pretty safely during a horde wave, so I wasn't worried about that. I'll take the scarf here. That'll fix my movement speed and give me some regeneration. I actually am building some range, so I guess I'll take the glasses here. More attack speed matters a lot. Toxic Sludge we don't care about at all. Lighthouse doesn't do anything. We'll take a weapon slot. We will upgrade our Spoon here and buy an Alien Tongue and roll. Silver Bullet, that'll help me kill elites, which is pretty nice. I don't think I care that much about increasing enemy health next wave, so I'll take the Celery Tea and then we'll roll here. I'll buy a Cute Monkey. Tripling enemy health is probably too much, though, so we'll pass on the second Celery Tea. I'm gonna upgrade my Spoon here again. Just getting all of these to level 2 helps a lot, because the increased scaling from our HP and the increased crit multiplier is pretty good. Really nice to find a gentle alien, lock a Spoon as well. And do I buy the Insanity? I think I actually don't, because we have so many ways to increase our crit chance already. We've got high crit chance, and we have the burning damage. So most enemies are going to die to critical hits regardless. If we'd found this hunting trophy a little earlier, that would have been sick. It is, of course, one of the funny things about just posting every run that I do is that sometimes you're going to see runs where I lose or where I misplay, but you know, have to recover from that, which I personally find a lot more interesting than cherry picking only the runs that went perfectly or using mods to generate the perfect shops or whatever, which a lot of YouTube creators tend to do with this type of game. But obviously is going to result in fewer, you know, insane highlights. I will take the extra weapon slot here, and really nice to get a cursed gentle alien. The max HP and percent damage matter a lot. I will buy the spyglass, we'll get a free reroll, and even though cursed spyglass is great, just getting this early is so important. Losing armor is really bad, but damage and attack speed is exactly what we need. So I'm going to buy the ashes here, and we'll lock the jerky, and then we'll reroll. And the octopus, maybe the best possible thing we could have found. 12 HP, 5 regen, incredible. It cost me crit chance, but we're mostly getting that from our scared sausage anyways. Starfish will increase our income, but we only have 43 health and 7 armor at this point. So even though I'm going to boost my HP, and we don't need extra income for the end of the run, we just need more defensive stats. Here we go. So that's more like it for killing elites. Now that we've got the automatic critical hits and a little more HP. That's what the first elite should have looked like if I had managed to buy a little more health. Range is also especially good on the baby. Especially good is slightly better than completely useless, which it normally is on the baby, because this character can. Range is actually a real DPS increase for this character. Since you have 24 weapons, they're spaced further away from your character, and so often you will have an enemy who is not in range of some of your weapons while they're in range of the others. Increasing your weapon range means that you can attack with more of your weapons when you're moving near an enemy, and they'll be able to reach to the other side of your character in order to hit more stuff. I also took a lot of damage there, I have to be careful. We lost an armor here, of course, because of the ashes, but Lantern, more range and more percent damage, really good. More armor, perfect. We'll take a weapon slot as well. All right, the Cursed Octopus, this really nails things down for us, giving us regen and taking us to a reasonable HP total matters so much. And then, of course, we're... actually, we have so many level 4 items. Yeah, we actually got a ton of tier 4 items, so the fairy is kind of bad for us, shockingly. I'm going to lock the fairy. If we were just going for the maximum chance of winning the game, obviously buying the knot here is 100% correct. Percent damage we want, max HP we want. We've already got 17 weapons, but we're playing the baby, so obviously we want to fill out our weapon set. That's the whole point of this character. Take a spoon, we'll take a goblet. Cursed Goblet is a lot of healing as well, and then we'll roll. Then we'll lock all of these items. Hopefully we get the fairy cursed. If we do, we'll buy it. If we don't, I probably will unlock it, but I think it's worth speculating once, because a cursed fairy would totally solve our regeneration issues. Just drinking some water, as of course it gets further into fall and towards winter. Air gets drier, becomes harder to talk for hours on end, and I've recorded a few videos already today. Yeah, the spoon buff is still just nuts. Once we get a second scared sausage, it's basically like 50% crit chance. So it just is absolutely gonna make this weapon, which is already a really strong weapon, even better. Increasing movement speed, more melee damage. Yes, please. All right, so I'm gonna unlock the fairy here. Actually, I should just buy it. 5 regen is still good. No need to get super greedy there. And we'll buy the Cursed Alien Magic, and we'll reroll, and we'll buy a spoon, and lock a weird food, and then roll. Missile, I don't need the percent damage, but I do have a fish hook, but I think I'm just going to roll past it. Unfortunately, nothing else that we want to lock there. Alright, so here I'm going to let the gobbler eat as many materials as I can until the end of the wave. Unfortunately, I have really good pickup radius and a baby gecko, so it's hard to feed the gobbler. But when you let it eat materials, it multiplies the value of the materials in its stomach. So if you let it eat a bunch of stuff and then kill it at the end of the wave, you make a lot of extra money from the gobbler. So that's the way to use this enemy in your favor. Although I have fully lost track of it. Did I accidentally kill it? I might have accidentally killed it. Or it died to like a baby elephant proc or something. Looks like we still got extra money from it, though, because we made 800 this wave, which isn't bad. Take the dangerous bunny and the coupon, upgrade a weapon slot, and then... Oh, candy bag would have been really nice earlier. Obviously doesn't do anything going into the boss wave, but that's okay. Take a weird food, we'll roll. I will take the little muscly dude. That scales our weapons in 2 ways, and we'll take the mastery. We'll upgrade to a higher level cursed spoon. Unfortunately, if I buy the mirror, I don't think we're going to be able to buy anything cool with it, so I will pass on the mirror just because we won't have the money to duplicate anything cool. Lost Duck is not worth it going into the boss wave. I should have taken the padding there, actually. The extra HP would have been good. But we'll just upgrade our weapons and keep rolling a bit and buy some more spoons. An item that you don't want with spoon is eye surgery because burning activating faster is bad. On the other hand, if you get frozen heart, that's actually really good because then enemies are burning for longer, so you get more chances to critically hit them automatically. All right, let's see how quickly we can kill the bosses here. Should be very quickly. And there we go. And yep, the oh wow, the baby's new animation where the character does like a backflip and spins around looks crazy with all the weapons there. You can see once we got past the mid-game hurdle, we were in amazing shape, and the spoon buff just makes you melt enemy bosses. So I'm gonna have to do a couple more runs with this weapon and maybe some guides to it, because I think it's now the best weapon for a lot of characters, probably. Anything that can reliably set enemies on fire. Let's take a look at our items here. So, Dangerous Money did very little. We were locking instead of re-rolling a lot because we had Fishhook and we had double Spyglass. Those items don't go well together. Spyglass did 256, so a lot of re-rolls and was pretty good for us. We ended up with 27 healing off the Goblet and 300 materials off Hunting Trophy. This is actually lower than I thought it would be, but we did get it somewhat late. 18 damage off the Vigilante Ring, 50k damage off the Giant Belt. Another reason we were able to kill the elites and bosses so quickly, of course. 87 healing off Cute Monkeys, 3 free items from Treasure Map, so again, overperforming as always. Fishhooks did okay. I mean, the big thing was they got us the Cursed Wisdom and Cursed Focus, which were really good. And Power Generator ended up not being worth buying. It was pretty speculative when I bought it, so this ended up being a dud. And what else? Coupon saving us 800, which is great. 220 healing from the tentacle is perfect. Without this tentacle, we would not have lived through the mid-game, so very glad that I picked that up. And obviously finding the Scared Sausage was nuts. It only dealt 663 damage, but that's because everything we set on fire died immediately to a critical hit. Alright, my friends, hope you've enjoyed this run, and of course, as always, if you have, feel free to leave a comment and hit like. Helps me out with the algorithm, so I appreciate you taking the time to do that. And of course, you can subscribe to my channel for more Brotato and other strategy game analysis. Cheers, my friends. I'll catch you next time.